everybody. Welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. It's the first episode for the 2021 season. So
Here
that's
we are,
exciting.
baby. Yes, it is.
Football is back, and it was as chaotic as ever.
Yep.
Obviously, the Birds had a great game. There was a lot of upsets this week. Monday Night Football was a great game.
That was awesome. I caught that. I got off from work. I caught the overtime when they tied it. And honestly, the overtime, I didn't even need to see the rest of the game. That was so much entertainment.
I watched. I like had it on my. I think it was either my iPad or my phone, and I was watching it like here and there. And then like the third and fourth quarter started getting like really interesting, so I started paying more attention. And then like by overtime, I was just like looking straight at it. Like it was. I can't believe that the Raiders like scored in OT, but then it got called back. Then they threw an interception in the end zone, but then was still able to get it back from Lamar by making him fumble. And then scored on a bomb, like a 40-yard bomb. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I couldn't believe that. Have you ever? I was thinking,
he just chucked it too.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
back foot.
I couldn't believe the balls because I was like, why don't you just go kick the field goal now? Like, just end the game. Don't you just saw what happened before?
And then they got a delay of game because they took so long to decide, and then they lost 5 yards.
Oh yeah, the delay game. I mean, the false start first on the 1 yard line, that was unacceptable. Then the delay game was pretty bad too. They're like, yeah, the kicker was off on the net. Like, dude, what is the kicker doing? You're about to win the game on a field goal.
Imagine if the Eagles did that to us.
I'd punch a hole through my TV.
This Lincoln Financial Field would literally be in flames.
Oh my God. It was so bad. Have you ever seen someone lose twice? Because remember, Lamar was on the field hugging everyone after the Brian Edwards
They did all their
play.
handshakes at post game.
Yeah. I've never seen a guy lose twice.
The game's not over.
That was a great game, man. That got me so hyped. I wanted to ask you, did you, because I was watching this, I didn't watch it during the game, but I watched it afterwards. Did you watch the Peyton Manning, Eli Manning cast for the Monday Night Football?
I did not.
I
keep hearing about it, but I did not see it.
It was all right. It was kind of awkward when I was watching it. Russell Wilson was on it, so I thought that was a pretty cool guest to have. Love having an active player called like football games. I think it's great, but it was like it kind of seemed a little awkward because it was like literally like Peyton and Eli are watching and Russell Wilson are watching TV together and like they're on a Zoom chat, and so it's kind of like they'll work out kinks. But I liked it. I thought I was really into it. You could see them getting into the game too. Like it was exciting. Like they cared. It was cool. Like they kind of had that Tony Romo feel where they were calling out blitzes and stuff. And I actually loved that it was 3 quarterbacks. Like there was nothing they were missing. It was really fun.
What was that? Was that on ESPN or no?
I think it was on ESPN Plus. I actually watched it on YouTube after the game.
Yeah, I've never paid for ESPN Plus.
No, maybe I'll give you my login one of these days. It was good. I did enjoy it. But let's get into, because I got to ask you this.
Oh boy.
When is the last time we had a happy Eagles discussion post game? Because last year I was just using this as therapy session, like just to get out my anger and frustration. But now, I'm so happy. They exceeded every expectation I had. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I'm very, very, I'm happy, but I have tempered excitement, I would say.
Fair enough.
I'm definitely like I'm in the boat where it's like, I thought it would be a close game, but I still thought the Eagles were going to win because I thought they were the better team. I didn't expect them to just blow them out.
They looked great too. It looked good. It felt good. It was so nice to blow a team out. I haven't my excitement for the Eagles, I feel like hasn't been as high as it normally is. And this just got me right back into it. Seeing them win this way, I'm sky high. I'm like, division, let's go. And before this, I was probably thinking like 5 or 6 wins, 7 wins, It just feels good. It feels really good.
I listened to a lot of Philly radio on my drive into work on Monday, like going back and forth between 94.1 and 97.5, and people were getting pretty high. I mean, they were like still, nobody was saying Super Bowl, so that's what I was worried about. But people were happy. They were excited. I will say, just right off the bat, the biggest thing to me that I noticed was not the stats, not the fact that they blew out the Falcons, but the fact that like Sirianni has created a great culture on this team that has been sorely missed since I would say the Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Like they genuinely like each other. Like they want to put. You see Jalen Hurts and Sirianni have like a handshake. How many coaches have a handshake with their players?
Wait, you know what I was thinking of? I mean, they had like a million sacks. They were ruining Matt Ryan's life. Did you see they were kind of like kicking down the door and they were doing the celebration all of them together on each
box
sack?
And then they
yep. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded the Super Bowl year where the wide receivers were doing all those end zone dances after touchdowns. And you know what? I love that because it's a great point you brought up actually because I was thinking about that and I was like, dude, the chemistry's there. Like this looks fun. It looks like they're having fun. Like it looks like they're together. I see 4 guys celebrating every sack and it just reminded me of the Super Bowl year with the wide receivers. I was so ecstatic. Exceeded all expectations in all areas, really.
Now, I mean, they're not going to go undefeated. So they're going to lose games here and there. So I'm curious to see how that family mentality, holds up. But I mean, I really liked what I saw out of Sirianni as like a, actual head coach beyond just play calling. Like, I mean, even if like I didn't notice this at first and then I started to pick up on it, but when he would, in all 3 of the press conferences I watched of after the game with him, anytime he was asked about a player, he referred to them only by their first name. Like it wasn't like, oh, Ertz did this, Hurts did that. He was, oh, Jalen was great. Zach had some good plays. Brandon was great off the edge. Like he used only first name. I was like, that's a coach that's showing care for what he's saying and, is showing the emotion and passion that they've been able to develop on this team. So it seems like it just feels like a different team, which is, which is cool.
It's great. But I love it. I mean, we looked at the lines were dominant. I love seeing that. It's good to see the offensive line healthy. They look good. Mailata looked great, especially coming off the contract extension. You love seeing that. And
just ate a fucking safety on that
touchdown. It was beautiful. I mean, the run defense was pretty rough in the beginning, but hey, they bend don't break. They held them to field goals, and that was huge. But after that, geez, man, they were making Matt Ryan's life a living hell. I know Mayfield is the starting right guard for the Falcons. That's a bad thing that I know his absolute name. That, you know what? I love the line play. The offensive line looked good. The defense line were terrors. I love looking at Brandon Graham, Fletch Cox. They age so well, man. They look so good. They're still at a high level.
You know who else looked really good on the line?
Who's that?
Von Hargrave.
He did. Listen, I'll give credit to everyone.
He's gonna have a good year.
That's why I was like, I love seeing it. Like, Hargrave looked good. I mean, besides the penalties for Ridgeway, I think he had 2 sacks in the third quarter or something. Like Cox and Graham, they clearly haven't slowed down at all. Like they are their elite level self they've been. And man, it looked good.
I'll say, like, I agree with you. Like, I'm still definitely concerned about the run game, like the run defense.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that's going to be interesting going forward is that previous years we had the Jim Schwartz defense where he just would not make, like, if he made adjustments, it would just be like different players. Like he did not change anything about his game plan. And so what would happen in Jim Schwartz's defense is that, like, he would ask players to do the impossible. Like he would be asking like a third string cornerback to guard a number 1 receiver because that's just like, he's like, you have to cover a man one-on-one. Like that's what my defense calls for. Yeah. And that doesn't work. Whereas Gannon's defense so far from what we saw, he made adjustments.
Yep.
And he changed coverage based on what the Falcons were trying to do. So the rush defense looked porous in the first half. And I'm very concerned about the linebackers, which I thought was going to be an improvement this year, but who was it?
There's some
Wilson. He looked really bad. Not even the tackle, like he was just out of position on so many plays. And I thought he came in like from the Vikings with 100 tackle player, and I was like excited for it. But
what's the guy last year who broke out, the linebacker that we had? Singletary. I didn't even see him do anything. Or Singleton,
both linebackers looked bad.
That is worrisome. I mean,
but the secondary looked phenomenal. Yeah. So
that was true. I mean, listen, the defense looked good. I mean, the rush defense was worrisome at first, but I let that go because the red zone defense was very strong. I like it. They abused that offensive line.
The problem, so it's like a twofold. Like the Falcons are a weird team because, like, if you have Matt Ryan, who's always going to give you that high offense potential because he's that good of a quarterback, but their line is kind of being reconstructed. They are running backs. I mean, Mike Davis is nice, but behind him, it's not much. And then,
I mean, he's nice.
They got a bunch of young receivers. I mean, I thought Calvin Ridley was about to have a fucking 200 receiving yard game after the first quarter, and then
Yeah, they
Slay
are.
and whoever shut him down, and then Kyle
Hey,
Pitts did
even Pitts
nothing.
didn't do anything.
No,
I mean, you look at I mean,
he definitely looked like a
nothing.
rookie though. Like he looked
Yeah,
like he wasn't prepared.
they looked like but you know what? They looked like they had a specific plan in stopping him, and it
Mm-hmm.
worked well. So that was good. I mean, I love the fact that they got the dominant line play because that's what we built on. That's what we won with in the past, and that's what our best players are at. But going off that too, I mean, the skill players impressed me. Devonta Smith getting the touchdown, gotta love it. He already makes everyone better. I thought this was one of the better games I've seen from Rager. Just he got a touchdown. Just having another guy on the field that is a good wide receiver improves everyone. Gainwell surprised me. He looked great. I love Gainwell. Man,
Yeah.
pass protection as a rookie, he looked great in there. Pickup blitzes, got a nice couple of runs in there. Even you know what? And this is when I'm just juiced up and I'm happy for the Eagles. I thought Arthega-Whiteside had a good game blocking.
You know what?
And that's fine. I do that. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
You know what? He actually technically was the starting receiver opposite Devontae, I think, because they wanted to use him for blocking, and
he did a good
blocked
job.
Pretty damn well. So yeah,
hey, you know what I'll say? Last year I don't know what episode it was, but I was preaching for moving JJ Arthega-Whiteside as a tight end because he clearly couldn't get open and make catches, but he can block, and I was impressed. Man, they did a lot of those bubble screens and short passes, and it helped having Whiteside down the field blocking like that.
Well, they did 3 like to Quez back to back.
Yeah,
and then JJ.
I like Quez. Quez looked good.
So
I was really really happy with the whole thing. Ertz looked good. Ertz, who knows? He's an older guy. You thought he was going to get traded, but he's still got something. But let's talk about the real guy here. And I was impressed. There were some things I want to work on, but Ertz impressed me. He looks. My favorite things. I have pros and cons with him. Okay. My favorite things. He looks very poised in the pocket. Doesn't get rushed. Yeah. He's got a good sense. After I saw Wentz just look like he was just running around with no idea what he's doing all of last year. Hurts looks poised. He looks like he's under control. He looks calm. I didn't think he made too many mistakes. He definitely missed a couple passes, a couple opportunities. And there was a couple, obviously the Ertz short throw was a touchdown if he hits him in stride. There was the Gainwell right by the goal line. He did a shovel pass to Gainwell, but he hit him late, and Lane got called for an eligible downfield.
Yeah, I saw that.
There was one, the guy I forget. I don't remember the play, but there was the guy from the Falcons, like Mariner Turney or whatever his hyphen name. He got a sack on him where he held the ball too long, but ultimately, I thought the rushing aspect was great. He read the pocket well, got out when he needed to. He made good, crisp passes. I was excited. I was happy. There's some things to work on, but you hope that comes with more experience. And it's just, it's just seeing things. It was just, he didn't make any bad decisions, which is fine.
Yeah, no,
he missed a couple things, but he didn't throw any bad balls, which is nice.
He made smart throws. He didn't throw into traffic. He didn't throw to covered receivers. Yeah, as far as just reading the defense, I thought he did well. I don't know if this is just a physical limitation of his at the moment, but I am concerned about the velocity of his throws. They do come out pretty slow.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to seeing certain quarterbacks just like who was it, Matt Stafford throws like a fastball for a throw. Like the Ertz one, for example, like if he had put a little more smoke on that, like you said, it could have been a touchdown.
Oh, that's an easy touchdown.
But he'll work on that. I think all things considered, for him to play in starting his 5th game, in a brand new offense with some new players, and being the guy, I was very impressed. I mean, how can you not be impressed by what do you have? 77% completion, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Like,
when's the last time you saw an Eagles quarterback have 0 turnovers in a game?
2017 Carson.
Yeah, that's been a while. That was, you know what? He did miss some opportunities, but
every quarterback's gonna have a miss.
It's a new scheme, like you said. It's a new scheme. He's learning things, but he wasn't careless with the ball, and he was poised. He was calm in the pocket. I was very impressed with that. The line gave him a lot of protection.
Yeah, I'm confident in him going forward. Especially, I really want to see this stretch. This stretch will be important for his development because, I mean, you have the Niners coming up who have a really good defense, although they've had some injuries now. Their secondary is pretty banged up. Then you have Dallas, who's a high scoring offense, so you're going to have to score a lot of points with them. Then you have the Chiefs, who are also, solid defense, high scoring. Buccaneers, good defense, high scoring. So it'll be. I'm really want to see how he handles it all, how he makes decisions, how he adapts. So we'll see. I mean, it's not like he didn't. The thing people were harping on last year towards the end of the season was that his accuracy was bad because he was 50%.
Yeah.
So it's good showing now. I mean, a lot of them were short, dinking dunk passes, but if it works, it works.
Exactly.
Obviously, there's going to be times where they're going to have to throw down the field, and I'm not too worried about it. He can do a lot with his legs. He had 62 rushing yards.
To be fair, this is a good offense for that. I mean, with Quez, Rager, and Devonta Smith, these are all guys that just give them the ball and they can make plays. We already mentioned that one of your starting wide receivers isn't going to do anything but block, which is fine. He's a very good blocker. He's an elite blocker. I don't know if that's what I wanted when we drafted him in the second round, but he's an elite wide receiver blocker.
We drafted an offensive tackle to play wide receiver, basically.
This offense can work with the personnel. Even his running ability, the RPO offense that we ran with Foles, if you can do that and give the mobile option with Hurts that Foles didn't give you, this could be really something. You got guys who can make plays. And I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the Falcons are good. I think they're going to have a very bad season. This game, I was going to be like, you know what? One fan base is going to be super excited. The other one's be depressed. Because this was either the loser of this is winning 4 games this year. And the Falcons get to be in charge of that. And they looked every bit of a 4-game winner.
Yeah, I still would have liked to see Sanders get more carries because he was averaging 5 yards a carry.
That's true.
But he looked good in the offense. Like you said, Gainwell looked good. How about Devonta Smith? His first catch of his NFL career is a touchdown.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, baby. I actually put up a futures bet. I put a futures bet on it, plus 1,300 as Offensive Rookie of the Year. Easy money.
Jamar Chase had a good game, too. So
He did. That was an interesting game because that's one of the teams weird enough, I do like the Bengals offense. I like Burrow. I like Mixon a lot.
Good skill players. I mean, they have 3 good receivers in Higgins, Boyd, and now Chase. And they have Joe Mixon.
Listen, I drafted Mixon a lot of my fantasy. I'm big on Mixon. And I mean, listen, the offensive line's not great, but they did make changes. Riley Reif is a solid offensive lineman they brought in. Yeah. They drafted the guy from Clemson in the second round. Is it going to be great? Of course not. But is it going to be better than last year? Absolutely. And I think that's what you're looking for. And you got a lot of talent around Burrow, and Burrow's a good quarterback. So they're a weird team that, I'm not picking them in the playoffs, but I do think that they're going to be a solid offense all in all.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll somehow make our way back to the Eagles, but to kind of recap some of the around the league stuff. So obviously Thursday was first game of the season, Buccaneers and Cowboys, and the Cowboys really held in there.
Yeah, they held. I'll say I don't want to spoil anything, but because he's the 4th on the list that didn't make it, and bringing back everyone's favorite studs and duds.
Oh, studs and duds.
This is a big year for Zeke to earn his money, and obviously we learned from this offense. Mike McCarthy doesn't run the ball anyway, and Dak looked like he's about to throw the ball until he makes that contract worthwhile. But
yeah.
Zeke, listen, man, they're gonna throw the ball 50 times a game. You gotta make your runs count, and I don't think he did. I didn't think he had a good game at all.
I don't understand Mike. Like Mike McCarthy is playing he's coaching the Cowboys as if he's still on the Packers. Like, yeah, that's his philosophy. You know how much damage you could do with this Cowboys offense if you pick the right fucking scheme, and like they should be way more play action. Like Zeke should be getting 20 touches a game. They should have Dak doing more rollouts. They have receivers who can get open. Yeah. Arguably one of the top receiving groups in the league. One of the best lines in the league. One of the best running backs in the league. Like, what the fuck is he doing making Dak throw 50 times a game? I feel bad for Cowboys fans because it's moronic. But hey, I'll take it.
I don't feel bad. I love it. I love failure and misery for them. Actually, it was the best way to start the NFL season, although I wasn't rooting for Brady. Yeah. But to see the Cowboys lose, we love that in a painstaking way. But no, I agree with you. I mean, I don't know about McCarthy in general. I don't know. I didn't know how I felt about him when he was with the Packers at the end. But yeah, this is a big year for Zeke, and I don't know if he's going to get the value. But, man, you got to capitalize. The thing is, he didn't get many carries, but he wasn't doing anything with the carries he had. I thought Dak played really well. I was impressed, especially because of the amount of slander I was giving him when we did the quarterback rankings. But at the same time, you're right. No matter how good Dak is, you're not going to throw 50 times a game and win. It's not going to happen. Your defense stinks. That's the one thing I took from that game. Man, the Cowboys defense is atrocious.
Yeah. They're improved, but like improved from like
I don't think they are.
Yeah, but like improved from the arguably one of the worst NFL defenses in history. So they're still very bad. And they're young. They're very young though.
Yeah, but they brought in Dan Quinn, and I feel like he had like there was this one point where they would like put Parsons and I forget who the other guy was on passing plays as linebackers, and then Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith would come in on running plays. And it's like, dude, Brady's gonna pick this up by the second drive. So whenever he brought them out, he would just switch to a pass. There was a lot of times where I thought the scheme just didn't make sense, and it wasn't helping. Brady was just picking it apart. And for a guy like Dan Quinn, he's a smart defensive mind. I expected something better, and they were all killing. I think it was Marinelli, the defense coordinator last year, for a lot of the fault. But I think deep down, it's just defense isn't good. There isn't good players.
Yeah. But regardless, so that was Thursday. So then rolling into Sunday, and I just want to say I had a long weekend because I was out working, but then I got to come back because I was in Kentucky for work. But I got to come back Sunday and just sit at home and watch football all day. So that was
beautiful.
After the Eagles, I just put on it was like the Broncos Giants, and then I had like another game on my phone on my laptop, and I had NFL Network on my iPad. So I was getting all the highlights from earlier games. I was like, had a beer.
Hey,
and I was like, this is life. This is life.
So let me I want to throw a couple games at you. You tell me which one was the most surprising to you, because there was some surprising games.
Okay.
You had the Saints absolutely destroy the Packers. You had the worst team from last year playing the worst team from the offseason, and then the worst team from the offseason went and smacked them.
Yeah.
And then you had what was it? The Cardinals coming out and just destroying the Titans. Those were my three biggest surprises. I was kind of surprised by the Bills game, but listen, the Steelers aren't a bad team. But those are my three biggest surprises. Which one threw you for the biggest loop?
Oh, Packers Saints, without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw this. Because I was looking at it. I was like, why is it 10-0? Like, why are the Packers not like doing anything here? And then I saw like it was like 30. It was like 23-3. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then it was like 30-3. I was like, did they get off the plane? Like, is Aaron Rodgers even on the field? Like, what the fuck is happening? The worst part of that is that they let Jameis Winston throw 5 touchdowns with 14 completions and 150 yards. That has to be the weirdest stat line I've ever seen.
Efficient.
How do you only throw? That means like 1/3 of his passes were touchdowns. Like, what?
It's not bad. Hey, listen, this game, that game will have plenty of feature on the stud and dud list, both of them actually. That was a surprise. I'm big on the Cardinals. I know I didn't get to do the preview, but you saw my rankings. I like the Cardinals this year. I already ripped you apart about the slander about Chandler Jones. Yeah. Well, I was coming off an injury. And he's I
don't know how it can be slander. You stole my top 10. So
you should have been a little bit higher in that top 10 is all I'm telling you. And I tried to tell you that.
What did I say though? I said, if he bounces back and is full and it shows that he's healthy, then he'll bump up the list. Like, he had 5 sacks. He's clearly healthy. I'm going to throw that man up the list.
I tried to tell you, like you said, I'm a year early, you're a year late, but here we are.
Chandler Jones. I didn't want to put him that low, but I was just like being, not biased and trying to be smart about it.
Yeah, I think so. It was ridiculous. Another guy that we like coming from the West Division, I think Stafford and the Rams looked pretty amazing.
He was fucking ripping it.
Yeah,
it was like what, the first or second play on offense for the Rams. Stafford's just like, time for a bomb. Just fucking chucks it like 60 yards to, what was it, Jefferson or something for a touchdown. And I was like, the Rams are going to be
good. Listen, I liked you and Nick both won Rams on Defensive Player of the Year, and I like it a lot, man. He was playing. I watched that whole game. He's playing a different role because they were. I forget who did the interview, but someone interviewed Ramsey. He's like, I'm really excited this year. My role's changed because he's like, for a while I was playing on the outside and no one would even throw to me. I was kind of bored. Mm-hmm. But now he's in that Derwin James, Jamal Adams, I do everything role. Like, you see him on the line of scrimmage a lot more. I saw him out there making plays, man. He was running blockers over to get to plays. I was extremely impressed. Obviously, Donald was all over the place, but if they're going to have Jalen Ramsey in that Adams Derwin role, which I said, what did I say when we were talking Derwin James? He kind of reminds me of Jalen Ramsey. They remind me of each other. if he could play that role, Jalen's a big guy. He can get his nose in there. He's such a good coverage guy. You always just put him on the outside and just eliminate a wide receiver. But if you think about it, those outside corners that just eliminate wide receivers are kind of, useless to a point. They don't do anything besides just stand on the outside and just no one's going to throw their way.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey was very active in that game, and I was extremely impressed. I definitely think he heard your wisdom, and he's coming for that Defense Player of the Year award. But
yeah,
his teammate looked pretty good and, embarrassing that horrific offensive line for the Bears.
That's true. I was going to run through the scores real quick, so if anyone didn't catch up on it. So, obviously, Eagles beat the Falcons 32-6. Steelers, the Bills, they did not look good. They just very sloppy. And the Steelers just made good plays when it counted. Like, Claypool had a really nice catch. Deontay Johnson had a really nice catch in the end zone.
What about that defense?
Yeah, they forced turnovers. They blocked the punt.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, we were talking about this when we did the edge rushers. I think Melvin Ingram is better than Bud Dupree. I think that front seven is better than they were last year.
Far, but
I don't know. Melvin Ingram looked really good.
Although I did see James Conner stiff arm two Titans defenders, and one of them was Bud Dupree. So
I'll tell you right now, Ingram is a very good player, and I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, it's not hard to succeed when you're playing with Stephon Tuitt, Cam Hayward, and T.J. Watt. I was looking at something ridiculous. Cam Hayward had 12 quarterback pressures, led the league this first week, and then T.J. Watt and Stephon Tuitt, I think, both had 8. There was the Steelers made up 3 of the top 4. Their defense impressed me a lot. Ingram looked good. I mean, the Bills, I'm not too worried. I think that they maybe hyped themselves up a little bit too much.
I'm not worried about the Bills.
I think one team came out a little hungrier than the other. And I mean, listen, the Steelers have more to prove than the Bills. Everyone's picking the Bills to be in the Super Bowl. So, it's just natural the Steelers would come out. But their defense, man, that was an impressive performance. I think they could be better than last year. I like that Ingram spot, our signing.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. Bengals in a surprise overtime victory over the Vikings. Showed a lot of heart, a lot of fight. There was what it was, the story of this first week was a lot of star players made really bad turnovers. Like Lamar had a lot of fumbles. Dalvin Cook fumbled, and that's what turned the Bengals game around. And it's just players not completing passes and catching the ball.
Not to go back to that Thursday night game, but man, Chris Godwin had a brutal drop, and then he had a fumble. I thought the fumble was going to cost him the game. If he didn't have Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever, to lead a last-second drive, man, that they would come for his head. That was a tough fourth quarter for Godwin there.
And then the Eagles' next opponent, the 49ers, were smacking the Lions, and then somehow let the Lions score 24 points in the last 15-20 minutes of the game and almost let them come back. But they suffered. I think Jason Verrett, their starting corner, is out for the year now. So
and someone else is out, I believe, for the year with them too. Mostert. Yeah, I don't think he's out for the year, but he's on the short-term IR.
Yeah. Colts, Seahawks. I think Carson had a fumble too.
Carson started good, but I didn't watch the rest of that game. I wasn't paying attention.
I just heard something about he doesn't want to get the vaccine, and that's all I heard about that game. So
I love that. You know what? Philly fans get a bad rep. We are tough and we are passionate, but you act like other cities aren't. And they're like, oh, you ran Carson Wentz out of the building. Blah, 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 blah. If you had to deal with what we were dealing with, you would too. Look at the Colts. They're already turning on the guy, and he barely even played. Do you blame us? We have Ben Simmons who can't shoot, which is one of the basic requirements of a basketball player.
Yeah.
We got Markelle Fultz, who has mysterious injuries and illnesses that no one's heard of, and he can't shoot either. Basic requirement. We got Carson Wentz, who just can't stop turning the ball over. He's the worst quarterback ever after a year. And Howie, I don't know if you saw the quote. Howie dug into him. He's like, yeah, we've been to the playoffs 4 times with them, and every time we had to use our backup. Yeah, that's a little, I think that was a little petty, but you go ahead, Howie. You say that when you win week 1, but this is the case, man. We've dealt with some frustrating people. Don't act like fan bases are any different. I'm seeing with the Colts, they're already turning on Wentz. The vaccine thing is kind of ridiculous, but they're already turning on him. They're already turning on him.
Some Eagles fans took their Wentz jerseys and crossed out one of the ones to make it a 1 for Hurts, but then they also took the Z out, and then it was Carson Wentz.
That's actually pretty good. I like that.
So I was like, yeah, nice.
That is funny.
Chargers, an impressive showing from Justin Herbert, beat the Washington football team, and of course, Fitzpatrick got a hip subluxation or subluxation? I don't know.
Yeah, something or another.
Something. Basically, his hip popped out and got popped back in, which sounds very painful.
Yeah, especially at a guy at an older age. I can't imagine that's gonna be a quick rehab.
Yeah, because apparently that can cause a lot of damage. So he's out for at least half the season now.
I think that's what Tua had. I mean, I would imagine it's around the same injury. Tua's hip popped out.
I don't remember. So they'll have Heineke starting, which not a terrible option. He played well against the Buccaneers. So
hey, that's why they signed him to that extension. You know, it was for this moment. And I think you have to plan on that too when you bring in an older quarterback like that anyway.
Yeah. Panthers barely beat the Jets. So just two not great teams playing. Like you said, the Texans just pounded the Jaguars. I mean, I've always liked Tyrod Taylor, but at his age now, I never expected him to be slinging it like he was. But
see, what the weird thing was is I was watching that game. I was like, I forgot how many, like, the Texans are weird because they have a ton of veterans. Like Danny Amendola's on that team, Mark Ingram's on that team, like a lot of guys. I'm like, really? Like they got a whole bunch of journeymen. It's a weird system in Houston. Like they're rebuilding, but they have a lot of journeymen where they could probably win some games. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. There were some good moments. I did think there was a lot of Trevor Lawrence that I saw in college, the way he moved in the pocket. He's so effortless. The way guy flips his hips when he's scrambling out and just slings it is just so impressive.
Yeah.
But there were a couple bad decisions he made, but listen, he's a rookie. Still, that's a tough loss. There was no team worse coming into the season than the Houston Texans. I know the Jaguars were the worst team last year, but man, you don't want to get smacked like that, especially in Urban's first game, especially when there's a lot of doubt. You know, Urban's a college coach coming in, you know, he's got to prove some guys. So I don't think that helped them. I was surprised. I think me and Nick all had them winning like 0 games. So
I don't think they're going to start just with magically winning more games now, but I still think they're only going to win 2 or 3 more. But
yeah, no, I'm not expecting that. They did, but they got some veterans. They're in a weird situation. They're playing young guys. They're playing veterans on 1-year deals for some reason.
Then another game, Browns and Chiefs. Browns looked pretty good, and then just couldn't hold on. I think Chubb fumbled, didn't he? I'm pretty sure Chubb had a fumble.
Yeah, he did. You're right at the end.
There was another player that had a big doo-doo, but
there was a moment I was in the call with my sister who doesn't really care about football at all. So like, you know, I was explaining, I was like, there was the drive at the end of the game. I think it was the Chubb fumble drive where Baker had to take him the field. And if he scored the touchdown, they were already winning. They would have won the game. It would have been over.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like explaining to my sister, I was like, Shai's pretty good. Like, this is literally $100 million drive for this guy. Because, you know, he's about to get his contract. He's on the verge, but Baker's on that, like, good, not great quarterback. If he went and drove the entire field to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, that's one of those moments that his agent probably saves and brings into negotiations. But naturally, he didn't. So I had explained to Liz, who doesn't follow on football that much, that he did not win his $100 million. So, yeah. But it was a big moment. He didn't come up big. I like that they hung in with them, but I don't think the Browns are there yet. Maybe they develop into it, you know, as they come on. But that's the criticism of Baker. Is he that guy that can do that? I know Mahomes went and did it. Brady did it. And is Baker going to be that guy? I don't know. Who knows? But that's where they need to be. And, you know, it didn't happen. So,
yeah. Other games that happened. So we had the Dolphins sneaked past the Patriots by 1 point. Tua looked solid.
Yeah.
Then, like we mentioned, the Saints somehow pounded the Packers. I mean, they just didn't look right. They looked like that was their preseason game for them. Like it
looked like all that Aaron Rodgers nonsense might have caught up to them.
Yeah. Then the Broncos looked pretty solid against the Giants. The Giants looked bad. Like on offense, they looked terrible.
They honestly might be the worst team in football this year. Like they look really bad. There's nothing about this team.
I don't think their defense is middle of the ground. I would say like they're not bad. They're not good to where they should be, but I mean they have certain skill players that should just be performing better. Like I mean Sterling Shepard had a decent game, but like Evan Ingram sucks. And who's the other receiver that disappears? I forget what his name is.
Look
But
at you being all slanders. Evan Ingram didn't even play. He was hurt.
exactly, sucks.
I was like, geez, of all players, like they got smacked. It wouldn't be hard to find someone that sucked. And he went and picked a guy who didn't even play.
I made the mistake of starting Saquon, who had fucking like 7 touches.
See, that's why I didn't want Saquon. Like, there's nothing about the Giants I'm interested in because their offensive line still stinks. It's sucked for the last like 6 years, and every year they try to improve it, and they just can't do it. And Daniel Jones stinks. I don't care what anyone says. He stinks.
I was on like the fence with him as being like, I never thought he was gonna be a great quarterback, but after last year, I thought maybe he can be like a solid starter. But now he's starting to turn into like that, like worse than Jared Goff vibe, where he's just like he's just not going to win you games. Like,
I gotta be honest, I don't even think Daniel Jones ever sniffed Jared Goff level. Like Jared Goff can win games, you know. Daniel Jones
as far as his career is going to go, where I mean, Goff was on a much better team, obviously, but
yeah. The Lions are kind of a weird team. I like the Lions a little bit. I think they have a solid offensive line. I mean, I'm not saying much for them. This is like, you know, with the Texans. Game, but yeah, if he doesn't get arrested for murder.
If so that was Giants Broncos, and then the Sunday night game was the Rams beat the Bears. I mean, the Bears put up a decent fight in the first half, and then the Rams just kind of pulled away at the end. And then obviously, like we mentioned in the beginning of the show, Raiders and Ravens had a thriller overtime game for Monday Night Football, which I feel like last year a lot of Monday Night Football games were pretty ass. So this was a good start to the season to have like a really good game.
It was definitely, I mean, it was great entertainment for sure. There was some nonsense to deal with.
And then we go straight into Thursday Night Football, which is Giants and Washington. So back to being duds.
Yeah, that's
Speaking of
duds. Oh, look at that. I was going to say the transition. All right. So what are we doing? Good mood, bad mood? What do you want to hear first?
Oh, you know what? We got to start with the duds. Let's hear the duds.
The duds. You are a bad before good kind of guy. You always have been, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right. First dud, and I got to be honest. The duds list this week. This is a powerhouse duds list. These are some guys. We're talking about the best in the league.
Oh.
I got two arguably top 10 players, regardless of position, on the duds list this week.
Okay.
So first dud coming in. He's the guy he's part of the team. One of the surprise games we mentioned. Mm-hmm. Team that definitely had high hopes. Definitely, I mean, I would say Super Bowl expectations, especially they made a huge free agency addition on the offensive side. And they just came in and they fell completely on their face. And he actually, in his post-game conference, press conference, we even mentioned, like, yeah, we just got worked. We got, we were outclassed. It just didn't make no bones about it. We just got destroyed. And you know what? In those games where you're on a good team and you're supposed to show up and you don't, and you get embarrassed, you got to look at the best players in the team, because those are the players that are supposed to make something out of anything. When they need a play, this is the guy they always go to. And this is the best player on their team.
Right.
And he's a guy they've relied on for a while, and he was irrelevant. And when I say he's irrelevant, this is a guy that's not been irrelevant many times in his career. He had the worst yards per carry in a game since week 8 last year at 3.4. He was completely just abysmal. And you're talking about the reigning offensive player of the year from the year before, who went over 2,000 rushing yards. You got to do more than that for me. You can't just come up and be a dud, because when you come in and be a dud and your team's a dud, I look at the best players and I'm wondering what happened. So my first dud, going for 17 carries of 58 yards, Mr. Derrick Henry.
Wow, Derrick Henry on the duds list. I did not think we would see that.
Like I said, I think he was on the studs list every other week last year, but he deserved this one. This is, and it's a strong list. I've said Zeke was my 4. It was between Zeke and Derrick Henry, but I was like, you know what? Derrick Henry is that team, that offense. When something has to happen, it has to go through him. And
the Titans didn't. I mean, credit, I think the Cardinals played really well on defense, but the Titans offense just looked sluggish. They didn't look like they
really
knew what
well.
they were doing.
They gave up 38 points. What do you mean really well?
No, I said the Cardinals defense played.
Oh,
well.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I thought you said Titans.
I mean, it's not very good when your own coach is calling, Vrabel called out Julio for the penalty or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? As you should. Hold him. You know what? That's an embarrassing game. You come and get smacked the first week like that. That's tough. That's not how you have Super Bowl aspirations. That's how it's done. And your best players got to change that. Your best players got to make plays to offset that. And Derrick Henry did not. So Sticking on to the second dud, and we're going to keep it with the same team. This one is actually made pretty easy.
Okay.
If you ever go on Twitter and tweet about how terrible you were in that game, you make it very easy for me to put you on the duds list. And usually whenever I put offensive linemen on the dud list, it's usually when someone else on the defensive side of the other team just goes off.
Yeah.
So when Chandler Jones gets 5 sacks and you're supposed to be a top 10 left tackle in this league and you're the one giving them up, man, you are going to find your way on this dud list. And he obviously tweeted out, as I quote, "Got my ass kicked today. No way around it. That I let the team and the fans down. Thank you, Chandler Jones, for exposing me. It only forced me to get better." Like I said, Taylor Lewan, I appreciate you tweeting and telling the world how much you suck because you made it easy putting this dud list together. And again, it goes in the same argument with Derrick Henry. He's one of the better players in the league at his position. He's one of the better players on that team. When you get smacked and embarrassed like that, you got to look at the good players because those are the ones that got to turn it around. And 5 sacks, that's unacceptable. I don't care who it is across from you. I know Chandler Jones is awesome. Whether you know that or not is another question, but you can't give up 5 sacks. That's just unexcusable in any way.
Wait, so we had 16 games played, and you had two duds from the same team.
I hear that, but you know what? When you give up 5 sacks, that gets you on the duds list. When you're the reigning offensive player of the year, and you have the worst yards per carry since week 8 last year, and you're irrelevant, that also gets you on the list. And yeah, you're right. There was some couple other guys that could have thrown in there, but listen, it was one of the biggest surprise games. And again, maybe Derrick Henry's on there for more name, and I expect better from him. And he had one of the worst games, arguably. I mean, maybe it was career. But I stick to it. You know, usually these games where someone gets smacked, they usually find a dud or two on there. So. But then we move on to the next one. And this one, you want to talk about a dud. To have all the offseason drama that you specifically caused, to make a circus of your team and then go to Hawaii and post your pictures while you're arguing, yelling at your team. Then you have your press conference, call out your entire front office and basically guarantee that you're going to play on another team this year. And then to go and tweet the Last Dance picture. Listen, Michael Jordan, he won the championship in his last year. He didn't get embarrassed, especially to a team with a brand new quarterback replacing a Hall of Famer and missing their number 1 wide receiver. Oh boy. When you make a hoopla like that, when you cause drama and you bring a lot of attention for you and you fall flat on your face, you are going to find your way on number 1 dud list easy. So going 15-28 for 133 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. We got Mr. Aaron Rodgers. When's the last game? I want to ask you this. When's the last game you can think of that Aaron Rodgers threw more interceptions than touchdowns? Yeah, I mean, I can't.
I can't.
He's probably one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen with my own eyes.
Wow, we're starting the duds off with a bang. We got the former MVP and the former offensive player of the year. This season's going to be nutty.
I know. Listen, you ask how do you get 2 guys in the same team? Well, when you're Derrick Henry, it helps boost up the interest in the duds list if I put a couple of, good names in there. But, sure. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, there's no way to put it, was a complete dud. You made all the hoopla and everything.
He even said he sucked, so I mean.
Man, come on. You've been everyone has talked about Aaron Rodgers every single day of the offseason. They never stop. If it was either Deshaun Watson, legal case, trade rumors, Aaron Rodgers drama. Basically guaranteed he's going to be on a new team next year. And then, this is supposed to be his farewell tour. He's supposed to rip it up. He's supposed to dominate. He's supposed to be like, fuck the Packers. They made a mistake. They should be praising me and making me the GM. And then you come out and fall in your face. Yeah. You get absolutely worked for a team that's expecting to compete. That was embarrassing. You can't make hoopla like that and then fall on your face. You got to come out slinging. And that was a bad game. That's got to be his worst game of his career. I mean, no touchdowns, 0 touchdowns. Didn't even get over 200 yards passing. In a game that they were getting crushed, they were probably passing every play from halftime.
You know what was funny is we mentioned in our the safeties episode how we had Marcus Williams as our honorable mention. And what did I say about him? He's a phenomenal deep zone safety. Yeah. And what did he do? He played the deep zone and got an interception because he was halfway down the damn field when Aaron Rodgers threw a bomb. So
I listen, but that's a good way. We made an agreement there, but I mean, he plays off well with a guy like Malcolm Jenkins who plays in the box. Yeah. But on the other side, it doesn't matter. I could have played safety if Aaron Rodgers is going to play that bad.
Yeah,
they got completely embarrassed. I killed the Titans enough, but the Packers embarrassed themselves to do all that hoopla off season and then fall on your face like that. That's not a good look, because you know what? Everyone thinks the team's not prepared and ready because you were doing all this hoopla and nonsense, and no one cared about what you were doing because they were all caring about what Aaron Rodgers is doing. So embarrassing. He better come out firing. I don't. Who do the Packers play next week? Do you know?
They play the Lions on Monday night, and you best
the Lions are on Monday Night Football. Who the fuck
best believe Aaron Rodgers is gonna just score 80 points against them.
I want to know what president or vice president of the program from ESPN thought the Packers destroying the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football would be entertaining.
They have to put some games on.
I guess, man.
Eagles Cowboys week 3 is on Monday night, so
yeah, but that's respectable. Why do I want to see the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers destroy the Lions? I feel bad for the Lions.
Yeah.
But that's the list, like you said. MVP, Offensive Player of the Year from last year. You know it's week 1 because you know things aren't well. It's nutty. This is week 1 of the NFL season. But moving on to the good stuff.
Okay, the studs.
This first stud is actually from a game that we've already talked about heavily so far. Wow. He actually probably himself helped put 2 of the duds on the list. 289 yards and 5 touchdowns, 4 of them passing. That's like the Jameis Winston, efficiency. Yeah. He's basically, every 40 yards throwing a touchdown. He had 1 pick, but whatever. He put up 38 points. Had 21 for 32. He had 5 carries for 20 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And he's a man. I like the chatter for an MVP for him. I was big on the Cardinals going into the season. I like the free agent additions they made with J.J. Watt, A.J. Green. I thought this was a team that had talent. They just need to take the next level. And when you bring in veterans like that, that's usually the signal that you're ready for the next level. And it's all going to come down to the quarterback. The Titans are a horrible defense. Let's not make any bones about it. But when you come out and you put up 5 touchdowns like that and dominate a team with Super Bowl hopes, that's going to get you excited. Deandre Hopkins had a hell of a game. He was in the studs discussion, but maybe I'm a little biased, but man, my man Kyler Murray was out there just cruising, doing his thing, and he was making that MVP case look pretty good in week 1. It was a pretty strong argument to be made. I was very impressed with that. So Kyler Murray's got the first stud list.
Okay.
My second stud, I'll keep this one short because we've talked about him a lot already.
Okay.
Besides the blasphemy that you did on our top 10 rankings, he must have heard it. I'm actually surprised. Apparently Chandler Jones listened to the show. He's like, damn freaking Dakota doesn't think I'm a top 3 edge rusher. I'm going to go and have 5 sacks to just embarrass him. Like 5 sacks, man. That's like, what's he on pace for now? Like 60? Whatever. 5 times 17, 65, whatever that is. 85, I think it is. God damn, man. You want to make an impression. First week back, just to remind people like Dakota that I am healthy and I'm ready to go. That injury was just a fluke. I'm going to have 5 sacks just to remind everyone I'm here and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to do it to one of the best offensive tackles in the league.
You're mistaken because I'm happy. I'm glad he did that.
Yeah. Now you got to butter up to him because he watches this now. So now you got to be nice and butter him up.
I said in the pod, the episode we did, that I want him to be. I think I said if he's healthy and he shows that he can, that injury didn't impact his play at all, he'll be a top 5 edge rusher again. And look what he did.
Yeah, he proved you wrong right away.
He proved me right for what I said.
Yeah, right. I want to throw this little nugget out.
Okay.
He, ironically, is the last player to have 5+ sacks in a game since another Arizona Cardinal. Do you know who that Arizona Cardinal was? And it wasn't that long ago.
Wasn't that long ago.
I'll give you a hint. He was on the stud list when he did it.
That doesn't give me it. Well, if he was on the stud list, that means it happened last year. Oh, Son Reddick.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, that's not a hint. Well, they just gave you away. I told you what year it was. Let's say Temple Team Turn Up. So
it took me a minute to click. It's late.
Mr. Chandler Jones making his strong case for. I talked about how Jalen Ramsey made a good case for his defense player of the year. Chandler Jones went and just put everyone on notice that he's coming for that award. He probably should have won it the year he had 19 sacks, 19 and a half, whatever it was when he was battling with Shaq Barrett. But that's one of those Aaron Donald years.
Not to shit on myself, but you know who else had a nice game? Von Miller.
There you go.
Von Miller did.
I can't say I'm surprised.
What I said both of them are easy top
get out of
5.
here. What
Easy
I said.
top
Don't
5.
give me that. Don't give me that.
But I was
nonsense.
playing the safe game.
The safe game. Betting against 2 future Hall of Famers playing the safe game.
Who's your final stud?
So my final stud. Now this guy had, honestly, I don't think I could have dreamed, if I was in control of it, a better week 1 performance. Okay. To go and smack, embarrass, some would say, a Super Bowl hopeful in your own conference. But you're also, first week as a starter on this team, you're replacing a Hall of Famer. First ballot Hall of Famer you replace. Talk about big shoes, man. And you're doing it in a big game. And you know what? Even better, and this is what it really kicked me. Obviously, there was a lot to go off. His stat line was impressive. The fact that they smacked down a good team was impressive. The fact that he did it in the first game replacing a Hall of Famer was impressive. The fact that he did it, and you mentioned this earlier, the fact that he did it as efficient as he did. 14 for 20, 148 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Because what was the biggest knock about him his entire career was he's erratic and he throws a lot of interception. Mr. 30 for 30. No 30 for 30 here. He's throwing a touchdown every 30 yards. Mr. Jameis Winston could not have had a better week 1 if he dreamed of it. He got a big-time opponent, destroyed him in his first week, replacing a Hall of Famer. Didn't throw a single pick, was accurate, 14-20, very impressive. That's, if I can do quick math on my head, I think it's a 70% completion percentage. You'll live with that every day. And to have 5 touchdowns just whenever you want it, man, that's impressive. So Jameis Winston wraps up week 1, number 1 stud. He deserves it. With everything going with him, a lot of pressure on him, man. You're replacing a Hall of Famer. Without your number 1 wide receiver, he did this without Michael Thomas.
So Jameis reminds me a lot of what I feel like he's going to kind of become the new Ryan Fitzpatrick, where like he'll have some like really, really good games and then he'll be classic Jameis Winston. Like I did not like Jameis coming out of FSU. I did not like him on the Bucks. I don't like him on the Saints still. I don't think this is an indication that he's going to have a good season. I just think he walked into a Packers team that was not prepared and everything went his way. So, I mean, hats off to him. He had a great game, but
you went to 2 of the 3 most talked about players in the offseason was probably Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, and Jameis Winston, because he was going to replace Drew Brees or if he was going to get the starting job. And you know what? You had a matchup with 2 of the most talked about players in the offseason, and one fell on his face and the other one had a career day, and doing it while replacing a Hall of Famer. I like Jameis in the same system. You know why? Because I saw last year Drew Brees had nothing left. Taysom Hill covered up for a lot of what Drew Brees was lacking, and you saw that evident in the playoff game when they lost to the Bucs because Taysom Hill got hurt, because Drew Brees doesn't have anything. I think Jameis paired with Taysom Hill could help him. Let him have his shot plays. When you have a deep ball, Jameis still throws a nice deep ball. He's got a cannon. You know, Karen occasionally throws to the wrong team, but I think he's in a good system where he can't be throwing 50 times a game like he was with Bruce Arians and the Buccaneers. Here he can play. He's got a ton of talent around him. He's got a great offensive line, and he's got a guy with Taysom Hill who can take a couple snaps here and there with him and add some confusion and make it a little easier for him. So, I think he's in a good system. But man, you want to talk about a week 1? There's no way you could have dreamed up of a better week 1 than what Jameis Winston had. But how efficient he was, which goes against all the criticism that he's been dealing with his whole career, to replace Drew Brees like that and to do it to a real good team. You can't without your number 1 wide receiver. Incredible. I was extremely impressed. That he deserved number 1 stud. Easy.
Fair enough. I would like to say, or rather, I would like to start a rule that we limit it to one player on each team for stud versus studs, just for the variety.
Fine. I mean, you make your rules when I'm the one doing the list, but fine, that's fine. I'd still argue.
I mean, we both had 2 Cardinals, 2 Titans. You know what I mean?
It's fair enough. But you know what? They did put up deserving cases. They did put up deserving cases.
They didn't.
Hey, listen, it's week 1. I'm working things out. I'm still getting in the groove. That's I didn't have a preseason. They rain delayed the Eagles practice. I didn't get a preseason. So I'm still working things out. But fine. Going forward, I'll do that. 3 on different teams each time.
I mean, the Kyler and Chandler thing I can make a case for.
5 sacks, 5 touchdowns.
I don't think 60 rushing yards for Derrick Henry deserves dud, but I know where you were coming from. Whereas he's supposed to be this 200-yard rusher.
Hey, when you lose like they lost, you got to look at the best players in the team. And let's be honest, it's Derrick Henry. Because, and we saw this last year. Derrick Henry, at some points, when they needed offense, he runs off a big run, and he didn't do it. This was not a Derrick Henry game, and that's why he's on the dud list. Is it a little unfair because he has a bad game and now he's on the dud list? But that's life as Derrick Henry. You're awesome. I expect you to continue to be awesome at all times. So, when you go for 2,000 yards in offense player of the year and you drop a 50 guy for me and 3.2 yards to carry and you get smacked, dud list. But fair. I'll stick to it. It's week 1. We'll move on. So moving on to week 2, though. Ready to do some picks?
Yes. And I would like to say first to our listeners, who most of them probably know just as much football as we do. But this first month of the NFL season is always like this. There's teams that aren't supposed to win that win games. I think weren't the Buccaneers like 1-3 last year, and then when they won the Super Bowl, like these first 4 weeks are always chaos. Nothing makes sense. So, the Eagles could easily go and be 1-3 by October. I sure hope not, but it's hard to really get a good idea of where certain teams are headed because it was just one game, and teams are still figuring things out. A lot of teams didn't have their starters play at all in preseason, and there's only 3 preseason games, and there's still COVID issues and all this and that. So it's fun, but it's definitely like hard to predict, who's actually going to be good. But like you said, we do have another week, which means more opportunity to learn. So starting with Thursday, we have the Giants visiting the Washington football team, who apparently had like sewage leak from their bathroom in the stadium.
Look at you, Mr. Insider. I never heard any of this. What are your sources? Roto-Rooter? Like what are we going off of here? You know that there's poop overflowing all over the stadium?
I just saw a video, and they there's like all these people were cleared out from this part in the stands, and there's just above it was the bathroom or some kind of piping. It was just nasty water just spewing out of it. It's like a classic FedEx field.
Yeah, that's the football team for you.
Yeah. All right. So, Tim, what's your pick? Giants or Washington?
I know Fitzpatrick's hurt with the hip subanumana, whatever the word you just mentioned. But I did just say I think the Giants are arguably the worst team in football, so I'm not going to go picking them anytime soon. I think the football team wins.
I also will take Washington. So, then the next game we have is starting with the 1:00 on Sunday. New England at the Jets, a pretty easy game.
Yeah, listen, Belichick doesn't lose to young quarterbacks, regardless if Tom Brady is there or not. He just doesn't do it. So it sure as hell isn't going to be the Jets breaking that trend. So I'm going Pats.
Yeah, I will also be going Patriots. Denver at Jacksonville.
I gotta say, I was impressed with Denver. I didn't think they were a bad team, but they came out, they look good. The Giants are terrible, but they still look good. Jacksonville has got a lot of problems. I'm going Denver.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville is an interesting team. But they're not quite ready to get a W yet.
They'll be an interesting team. Not right now. You lose to the Texans, you're not going to beat the Broncos.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Denver as well. Next game is Buffalo at Miami. I thoroughly expect the Bills to bounce back and get a dub here, so I'll take the Bills.
I don't like that we've matched up this much so far, but yeah, after the Bills lost week 1, that one they probably got caught with the hype. I don't think they're going to lose, especially a division game. I don't see that happening, so I'm going Buffalo.
Yeah. Next game, and this will be a fun one, I think. San Francisco 49ers at our Philadelphia Eagles. Is there really a way you cannot pick the Eagles in this game?
Oh, I was going to say, I'm hopped up and excited. We're winning the division. I still think, I said this like all off season. I was like, you know what, that week 2, I do think the Niners are going to be pretty good this year, but week 2, catch them going across the country on a 1:00 game. they're still figuring things out, especially when they had nearly blew the game against Lions. I think this is one the Eagles can win. So I'm going Eagles.
Yeah, I picked the Niners and like before the season started to beat the Eagles in this game, but based on like Niners have got hit by quite a few injuries already, and it's only week 1 or week 2 now. And the way they just kind of gave up against the Lions is kind of, telling that they're still like figuring things out. I mean, Eagles are still figuring things out too, but I think this is a coin flip game and it could go either way, but I think the matchups are in the Eagles' favor. And I actually think I think they'll come out on top. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Eagles pull away at the end. So taking the Birds to go 2-0. Who would have guessed?
Love it. I mean, I'm happy times.
All right. Next game, Rams at the Carson Wentz Indianapolis Colts. I'm going with the Rams here. I think the Colts are still figuring things out, just like some of these other teams with new stars at different positions. So,
yeah, I was very impressed with McVay and Stafford this past Sunday night. They're cooking. I think the Rams are going to win, and the Wentz chatter will increase a lot. The vaccine thing's one thing, but going 0-2, the chatter is going to get loud, and everyone's going to be like, oh, it was just Philly. We're just the scumbag fans. We are the ones that yell at their players and get against them. When they go 0-2 this week, that Wentz chatter is going to get loud.
As long as he plays the 70% or whatever it is amount of games.
He will. He will. He's getting paid too much money to not play 70% of the game. As long as he's healthy, he's going to play.
All right. And then we have the hot off the Monday night win Raiders against the Steelers with an impressive win over the Bills last Sunday. This is actually a good one. I would like to pick the Raiders, but I think they're a typical team that like when they do something really well, they follow it up with a letdown. So I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm not. The Raiders surprised me when they beat the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a little reeling because of all the injuries, but this is the first thought that pops in my head when we do this matchup. I already talked how devastating that front seven of the Steelers were this past week against Buffalo. And then I remembered, the Raiders gave away their entire offensive line over the offseason. That might be a problem when they're going against TJ Watt, Melvin Ingram, Stephon Tuitt, and Cam Hayward. So I think the Steelers win.
Fair. Next game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Chicago Bears. What's funny is that the Bears, like, they didn't look bad. They just weren't really impressive against the Rams. And like Andy Dalton he played fine. Like, he didn't do anything to lose them the game. But I don't know. I kind of want to ride with the Bengals here just for the hell of it. So I'm going to pick Cincinnati. Damn,
I was really hoping you would go against that because I'm tired. I don't like that. I think we matched up on every single of these picks, but
they're all the same so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I just gave the Bengals a little hoopla, a little hype earlier. I like their skill players.
You can still go with them. I don't care.
I'm going with the Bengals. The Bears, their offensive line's atrocious. Andy Dalton's going to start this game, but Justin Fields already had a touchdown week 1. He's going to get the game against his former team. But if they lose this game, just like I said, the Wentz chatter's going to be loud. Oh, boy. Dalton is going to hear it. They're going to want Fields. They're probably going to start every game from now on with a chant, "We want Fields." The excitement he's going to get week 2 against the Bengals, no matter what. That we all knew. I don't think they're going to win this game. I think the Bengals win. I like where the Bengals are at. I'm going Bengals.
Okay. I'm looking at the schedule now, and I think we might only have 1 or 2 games different. So,
hey, it's the early weeks. This is what happens on the early weeks. We don't know anything.
Next game is the Texans at the Browns. Good game by the Texans, but I expect the Browns to bounce back. So, I had them in my AFC Championship for a reason. So,
listen, the Texans won week 1, but they played the worst team in football last year. That's probably the only win they're really looking at. Maybe they beat the Jaguars the second time around, but I'm not picking them now. I'm going Browns.
Then we have the Saints at the Panthers.
Where you going? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with the Saints.
Okay, I'll differentiate because we've been the same all the way.
Okay,
I think the Saints are it was a great win week 1. I think they get a little ahead of themselves and maybe they get caught napping. It's a big game for the Panthers.
Is this the 5 interception game from Jameis to even it out?
It's not the 5 interceptions, but I don't see 5 touchdowns coming. I think the Saints might be a little high on themselves after a dominant win, and rightfully so. It was a great win, but I think the Panthers can sneak this. I'm going Panthers.
All right,
they're at home. Why not? Division game.
Vikings at the Cardinals. I probably would have went Vikings based on not seeing week 1, but I mean, they didn't look good against the Bengals, and the Cardinals on the other side looked very good. So I will go with the Cardinals here.
Yeah, like you said, going off week 1, this is a tough. You gave your defense let the Bengals score 27 points, and they don't have an offensive line. The Cardinals just went and put 38 on the Titans. Not that they have a defense, but
yeah,
I think their Vikings defense is very similar to the Titans defense in quality. So I'm going to go Cardinals as well. The Cardinals, listen, I'm high on the Cardinals. I think I had them 13-4. I like them this year.
All right. Falcons at the Bucks. The Falcons showed us that they are not going to be a very good team this year, and the Bucks showed us that they are, in fact, going to be a very good team this year. So I'm going to go with Brady and the Bucks.
Yeah, the Falcons are going to win 4 games this year, and this is not one of them. So I'm going Bucks.
And we have this is kind of interesting. Titans at the Seahawks. I'll let you go first, and then I'll base that off of what you say.
They had a tough loss, and I don't think the Titans are that bad of a team. I was a little down on the Seahawks going into the year. I thought they were going to finish last in the division. I think they have a lot of problems in their defense outside of Jamal Adams. And I think Derrick Henry's going to bounce back game, man. When good teams go down in embarrassing fashions, they usually come back and have a little bite to them. So I'm going to go Titans.
All right. I was going to do whichever one you didn't do because I think it's a coin flip. So I will go Seahawks.
I got to say, I'm just looking at the spread right now. They got Seattle at -5.5.
I don't know about all that. But...
That seems like easy money. I can't imagine the Titans are going to fall. The Titans are a good team. Their defense sucks, but they are a good team. But you could say the same things about the Seahawks. They're, a good team, I guess, but their defense sucks too outside of Jamal Adams. And I don't think the Titans are going to fall on their face. The Seahawks had a good week 1. I don't think the Titans are going to fall on their face again.
Yeah. Then for another 4:00 game, we have Dallas at the Los Angeles Chargers. Who are you feeling in that?
You know what? I said the same thing about the Niners. Week 2, you don't want to do those cross-country journeys. I think it's going to be they're going to sling the ball, both teams. But fuck the Cowboys, so I'm going to go Chargers.
That doesn't make any sense. All right. Yeah, that's I'm going to say Dallas. I think I like the Chargers offense, but I don't think they have enough to keep up with the Dallas offense. So
I said, you know what? I used the cross country reference with the Niners. I got to carry it over when the Cowboys go across. Well, I guess they're in Dallas. Never mind. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going from Dallas. They're going from Texas to California. It's not that bad of a. If anything, the Chargers are coming back from Washington to California. So
yeah, you know what? It was just the automatic. They're an NFC East team, but they're in the middle of the goddamn country. So yeah, throw me off. But yeah, sure. That didn't really make any sense. But I'm still going to go Chargers, regardless if it makes sense or not.
Whatever. And then the Sunday night game is the Chiefs at the Ravens. I think it'll be a good game. It'll be fun, but I don't see the Chiefs taking an L this early in the season. So I will go Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs look great against the Browns. I mean, the Browns gave them everything they could handle, and they still came out on top. Tyrann Mathieu didn't even play, and they still look good. The Ravens, on the other hand, listen, Lamar's not going to pass his way to victories. He relies on the running game, and these injuries have hurt them a lot. You could see it just on the Monday night game. The running game doesn't look the same without all the running backs they've missed. Obviously, that'll get better when Murray and Bell get more used to it. I like Tyson Williams, but this isn't the week. I'm going Chiefs.
Agreed. And then our Monday night game, like I said, the Pack taking on the Lions at home. The Packers are at home. Yeah, I'm not going to spend any time thinking about this. I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers on a rebound game. Throws for 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers got embarrassed. They get to play the Lions, who they frequently beat up on every year. They're on national TV. The Lions just lost Jeff Okudah. pray for the Detroit. Just pray for Detroit because this is going to get ugly. I don't think this is going to be pretty. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to take all of his frustration out from last week and just destroy his division. I would say division rival, but it's more of his division punching bag. The Lions are kind of like when Aaron Rodgers gets mad, the Lions are who he takes it out on. So this is going to get ugly. I'm going Packers.
All right. And that wraps up the upcoming games for week 2. Any final thoughts, or are we just happy that the Eagles look good and that football's back?
Listen, I'm on cloud 9, baby. The Eagles have me more excited than I could have dreamed. I was a little, I don't know if I was down, but the excitement wasn't the same. Maybe it was like, less preseason games. We didn't get to go to the practice, COVID, whatever. I don't know. The excitement wasn't there, and they came out and they looked great, and it's got me hyped up again. We didn't even mention this. If they didn't have to go -5 yards on every single drive for the amount of false starts they had, they probably would have put up 60 points. So, I mean, listen, you always want to have something to improve on. I thought they looked really good in every aspect, except for the amount of penalties they had. That was an atrocious amount that is unacceptable in any aspect. Yeah. The fact that you destroyed a team with that many penalties is just embarrassing for the Falcons. But, just limit the penalties and just keep doing what you're doing. I like what's going on. So let's get week 2. I'm happy. I'm ready.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't have much to add. Like I said, I really like the culture that they're building. And I think if I want to see, I don't want to see them lose, but I'm curious to see how it's impacted when they lose and Sirianni has to get in their faces and say, hey, this is what we need to improve on, blah, 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 this and that. So, but he's preaching this dog mentality. I don't know if you heard it, but it's I love it.
I'm all on Nick. The play calling look good. We already touched about, like, they do look like a fun team. They look like they're united. I love the sack dances and all that. And hey, man, I'm for it. I can't say I was. Well, I can't say I wasn't for the hire. I didn't even know who the guy was when we hired him. So
nobody.
I'm still learning about him. But
I was going for a run when I got the alert, and I was like, "Who the fuck? What the fuck? How? I can't do this right now."
I was about to get engaged.
And you were about to propose, and it was a wild day.
It was a wild day. 2 of my loves were fighting each other at the same time for my attention.
Classic.
So, but. All right, well, hey, it was good. I missed your ginger face. I'm glad we did this. I look forward to a great football season. And 2-0, baby. Let's do it.
Oh, boy. All right.
Man.
Always gotta root for the birds. So, go birds, baby.
All right. See you later.
All right. Peace out.